How is it going, everybody? Happy 2024. Hopefully, you're having a fantastic new year and your new year is off to a wonderful start. As always, joined by Ricky Rips, which can't see him right now. Ricky, what's going on with the camera?
Just having some technical difficulties, but it's okay. I wanted to show off my new logo anyways. New year, new logo.
New year, new logo. For me, new year, same logo. I don't know. Maybe there'll be changes, but technical difficulties always running through its own course. I mean, I'm wearing wired headphones. I feel like I'm in like middle school listening to music. The AirPods just not connecting. So whatever, it is what it is. But hopefully you guys had a fantastic holiday. Sorry about last episode or when we were supposed to have an episode. Just schedules didn't work out. But either way, we're here and we have a ton of really good topics to get into. We're going to be talking about the newly released NFL Prizm that just came out. Of course, the one of one CJ Stroud Black Infinite Prizm was pulled already. So it kind of really takes a little bit of juice out of the chase, out of the Prizm. But what I want to talk about in regards to the Prizm is not just CJ Stroud, but kind of Prizm and Wax as a whole, which we will dive into, of course. Me personally, I'm feeling a little bittersweet today. Nick Saban just retired, Alabama head coach. Bill Belichick's more than likely going to be parting ways with the Patriots. So I'm a little, helter skelter here. Ricky, hopefully you're having a good day, good morning over there in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean that's tough being an Alabama and a Patriot guy. The basically the two head coaches that you know are gonna be gone now. So
Gone.
it's gonna
Gone.
be two new eras that you're gonna have to
Like back to
buckle
back.
up.
Like I couldn't even like decompress Nick Saban just retiring overnight. And here we have Bill Belichick more than likely going to be getting released or parting ways, however they want to term it. And it's just like, God damn, like it's just really hitting the reset button. So either
I
way,
yeah. I If we want to talk about that for a sec,
go
I
ahead.
I,
Yeah.
I think it was due. I mean,
Are
I
we
would have
talking about
liked to
Belichick
see
or Saban?
Belichick.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, a little
I,
college football conversation. Tell me
I
about
don't know.
Belichick.
I feel like it was due. If he would have stuck around, would have been. So I liked him as a coach, not that much of a GM. If he wanted to stick around to just coach and let someone else GM, I would have been cool with that. But it seems like that's not what he's willing to do. So I think it's time we
Well,
let go.
let me ask you this because I agree. I think it's a hard upgrade over Belichick, the coach, right now in the NFL. But the GM over the past couple years, 5 years, 10 years has really been lackluster. Like, I mean, can we really sit here and say that guy drafted in the first round by Bill Belichick is a stud? Within the last 10 years, I don't think we can do that.
Mhm.
We thought we had it in Mac, and that's kind of seemed like it's fizzling out a little bit. But either way, there's been a ton of first round picks by Bill in the last 10 years, and really none of them have panned out. So that's why, like, I was always a fan of, well, if we can just get a new GM and let Bill still coach, I'm all for it. And I think everybody would sign up for that. But like spin it like this, Ricky. Would you want to take a demotion after 24 years of doing what you've been doing? I mean, when you've had all this control over what you're doing, what you're building, and how you run it to get handed over to somebody else that you might not see eye to eye with. It's just, I mean, I understand Bill not wanting to relinquish control, but he's always harped and preached, best for the team, best for the team. And I think that move or that so-called would have been best for the team. And I don't think getting rid of Bill, the coach, is the best move. But if that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles, then there's just nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like it would be a demotion, and after all he's given us and all that stuff, I could see him not wanting to do that.
Like
So
I just kind of spin it and think about it here at the shop is like, it's just me who runs everything. I run the shop, I run inventory, I do all the finances, all the number crunching. And if I like delegate that to somebody else, like I'm not going to have total control over the shop because someone else is going to be doing that. And it just, I don't know, that just feels weird to me. Granted, much smaller scale compared to the New England Patriots, but it's the principle is still fairly the same. So I mean, I totally get it. Like when my mom's here, like it feels weird that I'm not at the shop doing everything, helping
Yeah.
customers and such like that. So, I mean, it makes sense, but the dude's like 70, what, 71, 72 years old. So it's like, it's time's gonna
Do,
run out eventually.
do you think he'll go somewhere else?
I kind of want him to. I think he will because he wants to break that coaching record. And I mean, I tell people all the time, Don Shula broke the record as the Redskins coach, not as the Dolphins coach, which he's most famously known for. So
Hmm.
it's definitely on the table. And if he does, I hope he does. And I think he will break it because Bill's not just going to go coach for, any given team, like the Panthers or just some crap team. I think he'll go to a team like the Chargers. I've heard the Cowboys even. I think that'd be a
Oof.
turnkey spot. I mean, Commanders, I like the Commanders because, Bill's a big history guy. Commanders have a lot of history. And I think with a couple tweaks on offense, I mean, well, on defense, actually, and he's a defensive guy, I really think that team could be a legitimate contender, obviously, depending on what they do with the second overall pick. So those are my three landing spots: Chargers, Cowboys, and Commanders. We'll see how things shake up. But I definitely do hope he stays in the league and still coaches. When Brady was leaving, I didn't want him to retire. I wanted him to keep playing. And he did that in Tampa Bay and won a Super Bowl. So hopefully Bill can have some success wherever he goes.
Wonder if Bill Belichick is going to follow me to Chicago.
I mean, that is also on the table too. I mean, Bears have one of the most historic histories in the NFL.
Hmm.
Maybe the Packers probably, kind of take that throne, but I mean, 1A and 1B, and I think with the Bears having what number 1, and I forget what their pick
I think
was. I think it was like the back end
uh,
of the top 10. Anyways, and then you pair him with Justin Fields and a defense that played fairly well the second half of the season. Well, no, well, potentially Justin Fields. I mean, that makes a lot of sense too. I mean, it really does. I mean, you could really drop Belichick in a lot of teams, and I think they're just instantly like 2 wins better because I just think Bill's that kind of coach is he can give you 2 wins just by being the coach. Just didn't happen this year,
yeah, it's
unfortunately.
hard to. It'd be hard to believe a lot of open vacancies don't want Bill Belichick as their coach.
If you have a head coach vacancy, there is no way that you don't pick up the phone and call Bill Belichick. There's just no way. Even if it doesn't fit, or even if he says no, you still have to make that phone call. Just you got to do your due diligence, like the Patriots. I mean, I think Vrabel makes the most sense in the world, but like I heard on the radios, like explore other options. Don't just tunnel vision hone in on Vrabel. And I'm like, you're kind of right, but you just don't
Yeah,
want to lose the guy. That's all. Because I think Vrabel kind of like a Belichick in a lot of ways. So I mean, I'm definitely all for it.
I could definitely see Vrabel. As soon as he got fired, I was like, oh, Mike Vrabel, you are a patriot.
That's exactly. I'll never forget. I think it was the playoff game. It was Brady's last game, and people were asking for Abel. It's like, oh, what does the Patriot way mean to you? And I think his answer was like, isn't that the streak that the movie theater is on at the stadium? And I just thought it was so funny because that's like the most Belichick answer right there, and
That's funny.
coming from Vrabel. So it's like it's really a match made in heaven. Plus, he has NFL experience. Plus, obviously, he's been pretty good as a coach for the Titans. I mean, I think I heard on the radio that like, Vrabel's drafted very well. Drafting AJ Brown, he drafted why can't I think of his name? It's gonna come to me. Oh, Will Levis, obviously, but there was one more. I can't think of his name. I'm drawing a blank. It'll come back to me. But either way, they had a lot of good talent on the teams in the past. So hopefully that can kind of translate here because the Patriots, when they get rid of Bill Belichick, will have to completely start over and tear it all down from the studs up.
Yeah, and it starts with the draft. Who do you think we take at 3?
So I'm glad we have three and not two, because if we had two, people would just be clamoring to take a quarterback. And I don't think quarterback. I probably said it here on the show. I've said it here at the shop. I know that quarterback is not going to solve the issue. It's just not
Yeah,
going to.
the
And
quarterback position is not our problem.
so like look at, like I've said this 1,000 times. Josh Allen, before he got Stephon Diggs, it was looking like a bust. Tua, before they got Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, was injury plagued, kind of busty, and then, he becomes an MVP caliber player. Look at Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. Look at Patrick Mahomes this year. No one to throw to, and he's suffering this year. Kelsey's only getting older. So when I look at the draft, and I do think the first two picks will be quarterbacks, whether it's Caleb Williams, Drake May, maybe Jaden Daniels sneaks in there. It's going to be a quarterback. Where we're sitting at 3, it allows us to take Marvin Harrison, who hopefully is still there, or Joe Alt, who's still there, the tackle from Notre Dame. And those guys are going to be foundational pieces on your team for 10 years. That's what you need out of that position, because over the past 20 years, top tier prospect quarterbacks, 80% of them have busted. Can we really sit here and say how many of them really panned out? You have Andrew Luck. Okay, sure. Then he retired early. Trevor Lawrence doesn't look all that great. Patrick Mahomes, sure. Josh Allen was looking like a bust before he got Diggs, like I mentioned. So, there's really only a few of those top tier prospects that have panned out. That's why I don't want a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, circling back real quick, you don't think New England fans are going to erupt if we take a tackle at 3?
All right. So you were saying Patriot fans would erupt. Let me guess. If they don't take a quarterback.
No, if they take a tackle at 3.
Well, more than likely.
I know he's good and all that. Like he's a great player, but just
so
on paper.
I really hope that as we get near and closer to the draft, I'm hoping that we start talking more about the draft here on the show, because the draft is so crucial to not only the NFL, but also to the hobby as well. Like, this quarterback class is loaded, and in a hobby that is just so quarterback centric, this draft is going to matter, because, a couple of years ago, let's say Justin Fields went to San Francisco instead of Trey Lance. Like, he would have blew up and would have been dynamic with that team. And I'm not going to go on a Brock Purdy tangent, but if Caleb Williams or Drake May goes to New England, how confident or really how good do people feel that they're going to play tremendously well right out of the gate? Personally, I mean, because that's what it all matters. CJ Stroud's getting all the love and attention right now because he played good in a good situation down in Houston. Bryce Young played like crap because of a crap situation. People aren't connecting those things. I do think Patriot fans would erupt if we take a tackle, but what has been one of, if not the most brutally horrid aspects of this team this year, outside of quarterback play, outside of receiving, it's been the offensive line. And I'd probably say it's been the worst out of all 3. So from a team perspective, it's the right move. From a sexy perspective, of course it's the wrong move. People want the high flying good throwers, or the receivers that can, catch 100 balls a year for, 15 touchdowns. Who wouldn't? I do. Of course I do. But at 3, that's why I like 3s, because you can take either one instead of being at 2, where it's now you kind of cuffed to a quarterback, or the possibility of trading out is higher. At 3, I think the GM that's going to step in is going to keep that pick, because we all know Bill loves to trade back. And if we had 2, 3, or 4, some team would have traded in to take a quarterback at that spot. And listen, I love all the value and return value that we get for trading back. But what good is that value when you're drafting bums in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round and such like that? So time to take a talented player, a cornerstone player with this.
If anyone's going to trade back, I think the Bears will.
So they just got to ask themselves, they got to look at themselves dead in the eye, like I'm looking at the camera right now. Do we think Justin Fields is our quarterback for the next 10 years? And if that answer is not a resounding yes, then you got to trade Fields. But I don't think Fields is the problem, though. His rookie year, it was a train wreck. Last year, a lot of promise. This year, still a lot of promise, but a lot of the things that have been wrong are still wrong from his rookie season. And that's the offensive line, though it got better. The receiving unit, though it got better. The defense, though it got better. And the coaching, that has not got better. So, I mean, if you can just just fix, bring in one more receiver, bring in one more lineman, and then I don't know, get like a better offensive coordinator. I don't know. I think you can see that next step because I'm not convinced that the Lions are going to own the NFC North for the next 10 years like the Packers once did. I mean, I still think it's a wide open NFC North. The NFC in general is completely wide open. So I think Justin Fields can be that guy. I do. I still think he has all the tools in the toolbox. You want a strong arm, you want a mobile guy, you want a guy who can throw on the run, who can take a hit. He does it all.
So being in Chicago, I think that's more so how they feel out here too. So like they like Justin Fields out here, but it's definitely a team problem, not a quarterback problem.
And that's so like being in Chicago, if obviously you're still a Patriots fan, but I'm assuming Bears is probably kind of like your second team now.
Oh
What do you want them
God,
to do? What? God, no?
no.
Oh, why not? You're in Chicago. Like, so like if the Bears were
I mean,
good, you wouldn't be like rooting for the Bears?
I'll take the Cubs as my third baseball team, but I'm not going to take the Bears as my. Oh God, no.
Wait, so if
This
the Bears were in the playoffs right now and the Patriots weren't, you wouldn't be rooting for the Bears?
I root for them not because I like them, just because people I like them.
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah,
So, okay, interesting. I would have thought, okay, apologies. So like as a Chicago native, what do you want them to do if they were your second favorite team?
I feel
If
like having. I just looked it up. So they have the first and then 9 pick.
okay.
If if they don't want a quarterback, then obviously they should just trade down because that's
Hmm.
who's going to go at the top of the draft anyways.
I agree. Like
Maybe.
because like I think the Commanders, like I like Sam Howell. He showed a lot of good promise. No, he's not that sexy Caleb Williams throw on the run Heisman winner. But I mean, I'm not sold on Caleb Williams, and that's probably a conversation maybe for later on. But like, I don't think Washington's issues were Sam Howell. I think it
Mhm,
was the defense just atrociously sucked, and they were the worst defense in the league. And I think that's your problem. So like, you can take that second pick and draft Joe Alt to protect Sam Howell. You could trade down to 5 because whoever's in that 5, 6, 7 range probably wants to trade up and take a quarterback. What was it? The Panthers last year traded up from 9 to 1. So I mean,
yeah.
the Bears a few years ago traded up for what 20 to 10 to take Justin Fields. So teams are willing to go out and spend capital to get what they deem is the franchise quarterback. Now, whether that's the correct decision or not, who knows? Because look at the 49ers trading 3 first round picks to take Trey Lance. Technically, is a 4 first round pick investment because they had to take Trey Lance with that fourth first round pick, if you know what I'm saying. So, like, the
Hmm.
Commanders can get a haul in value because, like I said, I firmly believe 2 quarterbacks will go 1 and 2. And then where does the rest of the draft fall from there? Who knows? Could there
Yeah.
be 3 quarterbacks? Boom, boom, boom. I wouldn't be surprised. And that's where the whole number 3 comes into play because if 2 quarterbacks do go 1 and 2, then a team that deems the third best quarterback that pick's going to be really valuable to, let's say, whoever's at 7 wanting the third best quarterback. Well, it's like now they're kind of handcuffed because that third best quarterback probably won't make it to 8 because someone else is probably going to come up and trade it. And I think that'll be Jaden Daniels personally, but whatever. There's just so much going on, at this time of year about the draft because there's so many different things we could talk about. And again, the draft is so crucial in for the
Hmm.
hobby because again, if Caleb Williams goes to Chicago, I think there's a lot of excitement there. Like Caleb Williams will be what Justin Fields should have been. That's what how people gonna spin it. But if he goes to like the Commanders, like, does that have a lot of like excitement to it because of the Commanders? Like, if he goes to the Patriots, like around here, people will be excited, but people are going to see the Patriots had a 4-13 record, and they're going to be like, oh, they're going to waste this guy. They're gonna screw him just like they did with Mac. So
Yeah.
where these players go matters, and that's why I love this part of the year. It's better than the regular season, in my opinion.
Definitely more exciting. So yeah, I mean, you got like you got teams like the Falcons at 8 who could
Hmm.
trade up.
They could use a quarterback. I like Heineke. He's a baller, but carry
He's
on.
not the answer. Yeah, and then you
He's a good
have
bridge. Like I would love him in New England, if I'm being honest, for like a year or two. Absolutely.
yeah, like a Cam Newton guy.
No, kind of like a Baker Mayfield in Tampa. 1 year, see what you can do, get us to the next guy. And look at Baker
Yeah.
now. He's balling out.
Yeah. I mean, and then you have Minnesota at 11 and
They're in a
Broncos at
tricky
12.
spot.
Yeah.
They're also in a tricky spot. So like these 11, these like those teams right there. Like obviously Kirk Cousins a free agent. They could bring him back, let him rehab, or they could go to the next guy. I think it's Jaron Hall, who showed a little bit of promise, nothing crazy. Broncos seemingly going to be moving on from Russell Wilson. So now those two teams are going to need quarterbacks. Are they going to get desperate enough to go from 11 or 12 to 3 or maybe
If
4, 5?
if
Like
if they want one of the top quarterbacks, they should.
so like that's the thing where I think I mean obviously 2 I think in terms of trade value would be a lot juicier because you're going to get Caleb Williams or Drake May at 2. But I mean, at that point, it just makes it so unrealistic for those teams to trade up. Now, of course, anything's possible, but I think being at 3 is more realistic for one of those, you know, teams to the Vikings or the Broncos to trade up. I mean, I don't, I don't know. It's super tricky because how many quarterbacks are going to go in the top 10? I think 4 will go in the top 10. That's just me personally, as it stands right now. So, like, could they wait, and maybe get one at 8 or 9, or maybe at 11 or 12? It's just, it depends on their power rankings of the quarterbacks. Because me personally, I'm not high on Drake May. Me personally, I'm not high on Caleb Williams. I'm higher with Bo Nix. I'm higher with Jaden Daniels than Drake May and Caleb Williams. And I might be in the minority on that, but I'm just going based off of my eye test, what I'm seeing in the history of these types of prospects.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of how desperate they are for a quarterback. That if they want to give up a shitload of stuff for the number 1 pick, then if they think it's worth the risk to bring in like a Caleb Williams or whoever, they
If
could
you're the
go all in.
Patriots, if you're the Patriots right now at 3, and let's say you get an offer that's not stupid, but like I'm not saying like 5 first round picks, but like let's say you get a really really good offer, and one of Caleb Williams or Drake May is on the board. What do you do? Do you trade it for this really really good offer, or do you sit there and take that quarterback?
Uh,
I mean, I'm trying to think of what a really good offer would be. Obviously, it'd probably be like 2 or 3 first round picks, a third, and like a fifth or something like that.
and like a veteran, like how the Bears brought in DJ
Yeah,
Moore.
yeah, yeah. It'd have to be like a top 25 kind of player at that position.
That's tough. That's very tough because you don't because you know how emotional New England fans are when they see stuff like so if they see that we had the 3rd round pick and we traded down, they're gonna be like, oh, all this over again, blah blah blah. You know, you'll have Boston sports radio crying and all that stuff.
Killing the Pats, especially if they take like, let's say they trade to like I'm gonna say like 8 or something, and then they take like the second best tackle. They're gonna be like fuming over it. I know what I would do. I know what I would do.
Um, I Jesus Christ,
It's
I feel like
tough.
you just have to
It's
take the pick. You just have to take the
so
pick.
so it depends obviously where I'm trading down, but I think that new general manager, that new coach is going to want that pick. Now,
Yeah,
I'm assuming again one of Drake May or Caleb Williams is on the board. So that means one of them went 1. And I'm going to assume Marvin Harrison or Joe Alt or maybe someone else went 2. I'm going to stay pat at 3. And I mean, if I'm going to 4 or 5, I'll trade it. anything past that, I'm gonna take the pick. Obviously, it
Yeah.
was a very broad question, but I would take the talented player that's not the quarterback. So like if Joe Alt was still available, I would take Joe Alt. I'm sorry. It just let someone else worry about the headache of the quarterback position. Because again, circle back to our original topic, quarterback's not the issue. I mean, it is a issue. It's not the issue. If
Hmm.
if I'm to word it better.
No, I understand what you're saying, and I agree. Like as anti, sorry in advance, as anti Mac Jones as I was, he wasn't. He. I wouldn't say he was necessarily the problem. Like if we could
I'm
build better talent around him, I think he could be very good, like he was in his rookie year.
I mean that's just how I look at it is his rookie season. He had a top 10 offensive line, mediocre receivers to throw to, and the best offensive coordinator in the league. And he was a top quarterback. He was the best rookie quarterback. He was a Pro Bowler. He was, he was probably going to win Rookie of the Year if it wasn't for Chase catching like 300 yards in 2 weeks. And then you take away the players that he did like throwing it to. You take away the coordinator, and the Patriots really messed up Mac Jones. And not going to harp on it too much because I do it consistently, but like the kid's like, I think Mac has like some psychological things going on. Like he gets the ball, he drops back, he knows he's going to get rocked. So like
Hmm.
it's hard for him to stand there in the pocket with confidence and poise, going through his second, third, fourth read just to check it down when he knows by the time he gets to the third read he's sacked. So it's like no quarterback, and we've seen with Bailey Zappi, people wanted Bailey Zappi, and we've seen it with him. Has Zappi looked good at times? Sure, but overall, the problem's still the offensive line and the receivers not getting open. Is Bailey Zappi's getting rocked. And yeah, Zappi's more mobile. He's got a little stronger arm. Again, he does look better poised in the pocket. But you can see even with Bailey Zappi, it's the same issues keep occurring. But I want to stick to the quarterback conversation. But instead of talking about Mac Jones and Zappi, let's maybe CJ Stroud, a quarterback that actually played well this year. And this is going to kind of circle into a bigger topic here, Ricky. CJ Stroud, obviously the best, obviously the best rookie
Yeah.
quarterback to play. Where do you stand on him? Are you going to be a buyer? Are you going to be a seller? Are you going to just kind of hang on and let the offseason kind of take its form? Are you going to let more products come out? And I want to dive into the products conversation a little bit, guys. Post first season, post rookie season under his belt before the playoffs, where are you with CJ Stroud?
Um. So I think he looks good. He hasn't. He was hitting some tight throws early. Last week he has a strong
Yep.
arm. It looks like. I feel like his buying window might be closed for now because he's in the playoffs, right? Yeah, he's in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
yeah.
Um, so and then you know how it is with rookie quarterbacks in the off season when it comes to buying. Everyone's going to be buying him, hyping up all these quarterbacks, whatever. So you might have. I mean, you could wait, I guess, until right after the season is over to maybe buy him while the tension is off him a little bit. But
So this is my thing with Stroud, and it could have been for any quarterback really. And is there's not a lot of products on the market right now. You have your Prizm that just came out, which those prices, because it just came out, are going to be naturally through the roof.
mhm,
Then you have Mosaic, so some two nice products. You have a plethora of collegiate products that no one cares about around here, but throughout the hobby, they do have value. Is what if he goes on a stupid run? Like
yeah,
I'm not going to say Super Bowl. I'm not going to say makes it, but like, what if he wins like 2 games, wild card in the divisional, or looks at least gets to the divisional, looks really good, and like let's say the defense blows it. Like there's going to be so much hype and so much excitement going into the offseason about him. And there's going to be so many excuses like, oh, if the Texans defense didn't blow that 3rd and long, they would have got the ball back and they would have won. And just there's going to be tons of excuses on why the Texans lost. That's not blaming CJ Stroud. Now, even if he doesn't
Yeah.
look good, let's say they lose in the first round, there's still going to be so much excitement because of how great he looked in the regular season. So with the limited amount of products on the market, it is tough to buy him. But like me, I'm going to a couple of shows this weekend and I'm going to be looking for him. I mean, I don't know when the Texans play. I think it's one of the first ones. NFL playoff.
Saturday.
Oh man, worse. That's literally the first playoff game is them. That is fantastic. Well, okay, so the show runs from 9 to 3. So the game starts at 4:30. So I do have an hour and a half window. But on Saturday, at least, I will be looking for him because I think CJ Stroud's in a win-win situation here, in terms of his market value. Whether he wins or loses, I think his market's still going to blow up. And I think now is the time to buy him. I think now is the time to buy Richardson, Bryce Young, Will Levis, if you believe in him, if you think he's the quarterback for the future. There's just everyone's going to be all over Stroud, win or lose. And I think you're right. That buying window is kind of small, kind of limited, but holding also makes sense too. It's just
Yeah,
how do you want to go about it?
because you see, like, come the national this year, that guys like those quarterbacks are going to be all people are looking for.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like,
because they want the next big guy, so
and
they're gonna be pumped.
by then, all the products, or I don't know, probably just about all the products will be released by then. So your
Yeah.
Flawless, your National Treasures, and all that good stuff. I mean, I don't know the schedule off the top of my head, but you get the idea. So, like, do you buy into the hype of the Prizm? And this is kind of where I want to talk about Prizm a little bit. Prizm just came out, I think on the 4th. So what, a week ago? Yeah, a week ago today. Do you buy into that hype of Prizm because it's Prizm and everyone loves the shiny Prizm? And, it's the upper echelon of affordable sports cards. Or do you kind of hang on, wait for like Optic and wait for Playbook with the booklets and other products like Immaculates, which will have a higher price tag, but it's a better
Yeah.
product in my opinion.
Well, the hype around Prism is that it's like one of, if not the first ones to come out. So that's kind of why everyone is all over it right now. So I think as more products come out, the Prism hype will die down a little bit, especially with
It's
what's been
it's
pulled already.
oh my god, it's in a weird spot because over time, yes, the prices of cards do come down from the release date of that product. But again, let's say Stroud tears up the Browns defense, who's been the best, well, I guess second best technically behind the Ravens all season. People are just going to go crazy. And obviously, when a quarterback plays well, the value of it goes up. So it's like over time, oh, I got to get it on camera. Over time, it goes down, but performance is going to keep it up. It's just like, it's in a weird situation. That's why it's like, well, if CJ Stroud gets eliminated in the wild card round, then we won't have to worry about performance. Then we can just worry about the value of his cards going down to make them more
Yeah.
affordable for people like you and I. But
I was gonna.
you were talking
I
about
was gonna.
something being pulled. You want
Uh,
to enlighten us on that?
yeah. So the 101 CJ Stroud Black Prism has already been pulled. Um, I'm not going to say their names, but I'm sure you all can guess who pulled it already. And it's just like,
Ooh, that's a Tesla.
just like how every time, like
Every time.
I understand the, you know, the breakers, bootlickers, defense is like, oh, they open the most product and blah blah blah. But it's like, okay, sure. But at this point, every single product hit is getting broken by them. Come on, man.
So there's a thing going around the internet, and I don't want to put names out there because I'm just not that kind of guy. That somebody who does a lot of streaming on whatnot is be getting juiced boxes from Panini. And again, I don't want to drop any names. If you guys know it, that's great. And this person is very well liked in the hobby too. I mean, he does a lot of videos. He's good for the community. And again, he opens a lot of product and does a lot of shows on whatnot. But I guess there's rumors that there's email exchanges between, him and Panini to get juiced boxes and such like that. And I'm a firm believer that these guys get juice boxes, all of them. I'm a firm believer. There was even a rumor with a card shop. Again, I'm not gonna drop names, that they get juice boxes from Fanatics. Because they're opening the product like 3 days before it came out, and they want to showcase it. And at that point, you want to showcase the best that the product can bring, so people buy the product. Now, I'm sure I've said this with our ample breaking conversations, is these manufacturers are giving these breakers juiced boxes and cases to showcase to the consumer, because if these breakers aren't getting crazy good hits, then the consumers aren't going to be buying that product from those breakers, and those breakers won't be able to buy the product from the manufacturers. So it's an unfortunate aspect of the hobby when you think about it whole and whole, because you want to think that it's all evenly, randomly distributed. Sometimes you get a hot box. Sometimes you get, a numbered card or points or a redemption. Sometimes you get the autos. But like, when juiced boxes are going around and it's just about a known fact at this point, why should people, now, of course, I own a shop, so it's a little different, but why should just average consumers buy these boxes? I got to buy these boxes to sell them. But why should the average Joe walking into my shop want to buy that box, or yourself, even if you want to buy a box knowing that, well, the CJ Stroud one of one's already taken. There's no CJ Stroud autos in Prizm. There's no Bryce Young, Will Levis autos in Prizm. What's the point? What is the point? So it's disheartening, because what's the appeal of Prizm now? What is the current appeal of Prizm, if there is one?
I
I
mean,
don't know.
as far as I know, the other 101 QBs haven't been pulled yet. Will Levis, Bryce Young, whatever. But yeah, it's just so like that should make the product's price go down now, probably.
And I checked before, because when we dropped our topics in the chat, I checked, and on release day it was like a $950 box for Prizm, just a regular hobby box of Prizm. However, now it's like closer to 1,000. It's not a crazy jump, but it's closer to 1,000 now. 950 to 1,000, 975, 980, and it's just like, why is it going up? Why? Yeah, Bryce Young and Will Levis one of ones are still out there, but they were inferior in terms of performance compared to CJ Stroud. Again, there's no autos of those guys because they're Fanatics athletes. Yeah, Anthony Richardson's out there, but again, he got injured early, and who knows how he's going to rehab and rebound. Why is it going up? It makes no sense to me. In an ideal world, Prizm Hobby should be a $500 box. I think that's a really juicy number for the risk and reward that you get out of that box. So why is it $1,000? I don't know. It's a question that I don't have an answer for, and there's no one to blame but Panini and the breakers that are, I can't think of the word, like not orchestrating, colluding, I guess would be the word, to get these juiced boxes and these juiced cases. I guess colluding would be the best way to put it. So like,
Yeah.
all right, sorry, go ahead before I
No.
keep
I was just gonna say I
yelling.
know I understand what you're saying, but yeah, it's just I don't understand the want to do it on Panini's end, because then you have less people buying boxes and just more people buying into breaks.
Yep. But if those breakers are pulling the hits and they got the hot hands, well, I want in on that action, and I don't have to
Well,
spend
actually,
$1,000 on the box.
yeah, I was gonna say now that I think about it, if the breakers are buying all the boxes and people are buying spots, people are gonna feel like they're spending less money on the product, so they'll do it more often. which gives the breakers more reason to buy more boxes and all that stuff. It's
It's
just so
it's
annoying.
it's annoying. It's breaking is such a plague to this hobby because so many how many people in that break? Let's say I'm trying to think of some bad teams to have in that kind of break. Probably the Pats would be one of them. Because the Panthers, you still have Bryce Young. Let's go
Bears.
Patriots and Commanders. And let's say those are your teams, or you have one of those teams. The price of a Prizm break is probably going to be pretty expensive. Just assume 1,000 or let's 900 times 1,000 times 12 because there's 12 boxes in a case. That's $12,000. Divide by 32, whatever that number is. It's just like, is the spot per break really worth the risk or reward? Because yeah, the CJ Stroud 1/1 was pulled, and we don't know what that true value of it is. And I think you mentioned it before we started recording. It's probably off to PSA already, but like, what's that card's true ceiling? Who knows? And then again, what's the continuous appeal besides that, knowing that there's no autos out there already? So it's just breaking is such a huge plague. And like, I'll always be a fan of, hey, Ricky, let's get, two more guys. Let's all buy a box. It's, draft out some teams and let's just rip them together over some pizza and beers. I'm all for that. Or doing a nice break at your local shop with, let's say there's 3 guys and it's like they all buy a couple boxes and then they break it together. Like, I'm all
Mm-hmm.
for those kind of breaks. But the breaks to the scale of Backyard, Leighton, there's another big one out there. I can't think of their name. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just like, it's so drawn out. Like, is it really worth it to those that break? And again, if anyone's watching this that does break, and if I'm in the wrong or Ricky and I are in the wrong, like, let us know. Maybe we're missing something. Maybe breaking is the best thing because you don't have to buy $1,000 box. You could just buy a spot for a few $100. If you hit, great. If not, oh well. But like, again, if I'm not hitting, then what's the purpose? Like, I'd rather just take that money and just either go buy the single or buy a box that I can afford and just rip the whole box myself. Again, that's
Yeah.
just me, and I'm sure you feel very similar. But like, are we missing something? Like, if we are, what are we missing?
It's essentially gambling. That's 1,000% what it is. And it's just like, which is kind of crazy because now you're letting kids gamble by buying into breakers spots, but that's another topic. But it's just
And like, go ahead.
it's just people chasing the dragon essentially.
Like, I'm all for like the gambling aspect. I'm not trying to condone it, but I'm like, yeah, just buying a box in general is gambling. And arguably, you could say just buying a single, just going out buying the card is gambling. Because like, unless you're a fan of that player or you love that team or love the look of it, why are you buying that card? You're hoping it goes up in value. Yeah, you're hoping someone buys it for a higher price than what you bought it. That's stocks. Stocks is gambling. Or people like to say they're investments. We can call that if we want, but at the end of the day, it's a form of gambling. And people do love to gamble, like you mentioned, and it's never going to go away. But like, after 4 years now, or I guess 3 full years of this hobby being what it is, are those people still out there dropping the heavy money? Now, some are, but I know a lot of people aren't. I know a lot of people are dialing back in sports cards, and that's why I don't think breaking to this scale that we know it is sustainable. Like 5 years from now, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just, I don't want to say non-existent because it'll always be existent, but like, they're not pulling Teslas anymore. They're not pulling all these great cards. Like, that's why I'm hopeful for when Fanatics does take over the licensing. I do have hope that the hobby will be in a better place. But again, that's just
That's
me as a hobby shop being hopeful.
that is kind of tough too because they have their own. They already have their own
Oh,
breaking
you're right. Fanatics Live.
platform, right?
Yeah. Oh, God.
So you don't think they're gonna give some of those big breakers their own boxes?
Yes. But well, it's hard to say because it's already been known, or heavily rumored to be known, that they've already been giving a breaker juice boxes, when I was already mentioning, a few days before release day to showcase the product, pulling all these one of ones and case hits in just one case. I'm trying to think, like, since I'm hopeful, like Fanatics has gone out and said that they want to work directly with hobby shops, and they want to, have the hobby shops kind of be, if Fanatics is the first guy, they want hobby shops to be the second guy, and then breakers to be the third guy. I guess that aspect of it and the quality control are probably the two biggest things that I'm hopeful for, with Fanatics taking over. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's not going to get better. Or some people might be saying it's going to get worse. I mean, I don't think it's going to get worse. It's hard to get worse from what Panini's doing. It really is.
Yeah.
But like, if I'm not being hopeful, then what should I do? I mean, I've been in the hobby for 22 years. I'm into the hobby for the next, I don't know, 52 years. Other than hope and being hopeful, I don't want to be just a stick in the mud and be like, oh yeah, Fanatics takes over. It's gonna be a piece of shit. It's just like, well, what's the point of that?
Yeah.
Like I'm a fun guy. I like to be fun. I like to bring energy, whether it's the shop, show, YouTube videos, here on the podcast. I mean, if I was not looking forward to it, then it would be just me being miserable. So
Yeah.
that's my little
I get
tangent of it.
it.
So like okay, so let's try to spin this, because I feel some depressive emotions from us right now. I want to try to spin it. What would it take? Now I want to ask you, because I feel like you're a good person to ask. What would it take for you to get into buying hobby boxes? Because like obviously, if we go to the store and there's like a blaster box or a mega box, who wouldn't want to buy it, right? But like, what's it gonna take for you to walk into your local card shop, whether it's Murph's Card Town or not, and buy a hobby box? Is it hits? Is it price point? Is it quality? Like, talk to me.
It,
Let's try to break the code.
I mean, number one is always going to be price. Like people
Okay.
want to feel like they're getting their best bang for the buck or the
Now,
best, odds of getting that great card or whatever.
so let me ask you this real quick. Now, I mentioned earlier, I think Prizm, the upper echelon of affordable product, should be $500 capped out. Now, obviously, if the market changes, over time in the year, let's say it's 3 years down the road, different. But release day zero, it should be a $500 box. Is that a palpable price in your opinion?
It's it definitely is. It's just a matter of greed. Like they. So here's the thing: when people complain about how expensive things are, I'm not talking cards, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
If people are going to buy it either way, why would you drop price? Like
Okay.
people complain about Topps quality control, Panini quality control, whatever. But if their boxes are going to sell out anyways, why would they get better? Why would they drop the price if people are going to buy it anyways?
That's a good point. That's, I mean, again, if you have people, excited and anticipating a product, yeah, why drop the price? Because if you can sell it for 1,000, well, why wouldn't you?
Why not? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And that's kind of where I'm being hopeful with Fanatics. I think once they kind of take reins of things, I'm hoping now Prism's going to be a Panini product. So I'm curious what's going to be like, besides like Bowman Chrome and Topps Chrome. Like, I wonder if there's going to be like a Prism, I guess. I guess Topps Chrome would be that of football cards, basketball cards. And I mean, I guess at that point, they will be controlling the prices of these products. And I think once Topps Chrome football, NFL, pretty much the Fanatics version of Prism comes out, I mean, they control the prices. We don't have a price to go off of right now, with the exception of like, I
Mhm.
think 2016 was the last Topps Chrome product. But again, that's what, 8-year-old product now. So like, again, a little different, but like you can control the prices. If you want the MSRP to be $499.99, that's on you to make it that. And I think that's kind of where that hope again kind of lies, is when Fanatics does take over, that they make the appropriate necessary changes to better the hobby for not just shops, not just breakers, but everybody: consumers, shops, breakers, collectors, investors, flippers, buyers, sellers, traders, everybody. All right, sorry, continue.
No, I agree. I mean, with them being the big presence that they are going to be once they get the licenses and all that stuff.
Hmm.
It's going to be up to them, which sucks, but it's going to be up to them to grow the hobby, get more people involved and all that. We're gonna we're gonna see their true intentions once they take over.
Couldn't agree more. What are your thoughts on guaranteed autos? Because I have people come into the shop countless times, like, oh, what boxes have guaranteed autos in it? And I ask them, I'm like, well, I mean, if I can guarantee you an auto of a fifth round offensive lineman, is that what you want? But at this box here, what if you pull it out of 15, Josh Allen and Mahomes? Like, which one would you rather have? So, like, I always try to tell people, don't think of the guaranteed autos, but guaranteed
Hmm.
autos or just autos in general are a selling point for people. So, like, what is your opinion on the two autos per box on average, or just buying boxes that have autos in it? Because, like, I think people are blinded to the autos. Like, obviously, having a chance at a Anthony Richardson auto is better than no chance. But should we get wrapped up in autos, or should we kind of focus maybe on just the cards and the inserts just in general?
So that little asterisk with the on average gets a lot of people.
Everybody. And I try to
But
tell people,
yeah,
it's like, I look at it as 95%. More often than not,
yeah,
you'll get the one or two autos per box. Sometimes you'll get points or a redemption, or maybe you'll get a card number to 5 instead. I mean, it happens.
but yeah, people right now, I've noticed especially people are infatuated with autographs.
Oh my God.
That
Hmm.
seems to be all people are buying right now. So that I think that's what people. I mean, that's what people want. That's what people want the most, even if they're sticker, which sucks. But
But like,
I
what's
think
wrong with, like, if I can give you I'm trying to think of a quote, not Will Levitt, like a Jaron Hall guy for the Vikings. He looked good his first start. He looked whatever. He's is what it is, like a fifth round, sixth round guy. If I can give you Jaron Hall auto or a Patrick Mahomes out of 25. I mean, me personally, I think I'd take the Mahomes. I mean, non rookie, of course. Like, I think I would rather have the Mahomes because people know Mahomes. He's a household name, and like, I think Mahomes out of 25 is better than a Jaron Hall sticker auto that's not numbered. I mean, obviously, I'm taking
yeah.
two extreme players in their own way, using them as one example. But like, people do get wrapped up in the whole auto thing. And again, what if that auto is a lineman from the fifth round? Like, is that going to get you excited after you just spend $200 on that hobby box, or getting a sweet low number of a superstar, an actual established legit player, give you more juice? And I mean, I'm trying to think it from a holistic point of view, but you're right. People get wrapped up in the autos too much. Like, I mean,
Well,
for us who are
it's
baseball, go ahead.
it's another thing that people get infatuated with is that little shield logo on the top that says RC. That's what people want. So if if you ask like one of these newer guys if they want what was that quarterback you just said?
Jaron
Karen
Hall.
Hall. If they want his auto, rookie auto, or a was 60 or whatever, Patrick Mahomes out of 25,
Hmm.
they're probably going to choose the auto.
Which I mean, listen, I guess I'm speaking for myself, but now, of course, if you pull it, it is what it is. I mean, people are probably gonna go out and buy whatever they want to buy, but it's just like, it's crazy how many people I see. Oh, what boxes have autos? What boxes have autos? And like, I'll point to, well, the $1,000 last year's Prizm box has two autos in it. There you go. Or here's a nice H2 box that's only $100 and it has H2 exclusives. There's its own numbering. You chance at an auto, but it doesn't, it's just like, again, at that point, what's more appealing of a price tag, 1,000 or 100? So like, if you want the guaranteed stuff, you got to pay for it. Otherwise, if you're not paying for it, then you're not going to have the chance to get it. And that's kind of where, like, I mean, here at the shop, I've started selling like H2 boxes, Asia exclusive boxes, Tmall boxes, that hybrid
Hmm.
between a mega and a hobby, because not only is the price tag better, but there's 2 autos per case. There's tons of inserts, exclusive inserts, and there's also numbered cards as well and patches that you can get as well. And I think that's the avenue that I think people are going to start going in, especially when they see that the price tags of these boxes are going up. Well, at least Prizm's going up, and like not everyone's going to be able to afford Prizm, but they might be able to afford the H2 version of a box. But then again, the H2 doesn't have the guaranteed autos. It's everyone's different, and everyone's going to have their own philosophy. Now, if money isn't an option for people, or money isn't like a factor, it doesn't really count, because you just go buy whatever you want. But people like you, me, the average guy, the average consumer, little Timmy, they're going to consider the price tag in budgets, because they have to, because they don't have all this money laying around. So that's kind of where, like, who's going to come out and make the decision, the investor part of us or the collector side of us,
Hmm.
right? Well, investor slash flipper, and then the collector side. So that's kind of where I wanted to take that conversation. All right.
Yeah, well, like we've said time and time and again, you just have to figure out who you are. Are you a
Who you
flipper?
are in this hobby. I like that.
Are you a flipper, investor, or a collector? Sure, you can be all three. You could be 2 out of 3, whatever, but you got to know how to play your role.
I like that. And that's a good way to kind of cap it. Now we have a few minutes left, Ricky, as we like to conclude every episode here on Hobby Talk. Would you like to have any outgoing takes, opinions, comments, concerns, anything like that?
First of all, we're still buying James Wood.
Does he make the opening day roster? Yes or no? Real quick.
I don't. He'll probably be a mid-season
Okay.
call up. I don't
Okay.
know if he breaks the roster just yet,
Okay.
but
Carry
well,
on.
it depends. Well, yeah. All right, I could talk about him for hours, but
Next episode
um,
we will.
yeah, no. I mean, it's just I just wish people would stop getting caught up in the hype. That's I know it's easy to. I still do sometimes, but with these quarterbacks, like the CJ Stroud are 101 black being the 101 black already being pulled. Are you really going to get excited when you pull a Will Levis? Come on, I mean, let's be realistic. Bryce Young, sure, his name is sexy, but I
Damn right.
is he gonna?
Damn
He's gonna,
right.
he's not gonna make you rich. So it's just like stop getting caught up in the hype and know your stuff. Know like stuff. Oh God! All right, no, I.
Go ahead. Let it out. Let it out.
It's just a lot of. I don't know if bandwagoners are the right word, but people don't know what they actually want. They just know what's hot, and
Hype
that's
beasts.
hype beast. Hype beast is a good word, but yeah, I just wish people would do what they actually want and not what they think is the hottest thing right now.
Could I possibly interject a um like you said about, like, not know your role, but like know what you want in this hobby. What do you want to do? What do you want to collect? What do you like? And is that, you know, buying and then selling and flipping that way? Is it buying to be a collector? Like, again, I think know your role is a really good way to put it, but like know what you want to do before you do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get into it because you like, let's say your favorite teams, the Red Sox, for instance, go out and buy Red Sox cards and keep a nice binder or a box full of Red Sox cards. They're your favorite team. You love the players. You love the team, yada, yada, yada. But like, you're not going to be able to really flip Red Sox players. So don't buy them and hoping to flip them down the road. If you want to be a flipper, you got to dive into who's hot and into that hype beast realm. You got to know who everyone's buying before they buy them and sell them at max value. And I think education research is huge, because, and we were just talking about CJ Stroud earlier in the episode, is like, Do you buy them now or do you wait or do you sell them? What do you do? I mean, that's a decision everyone's gonna have to make. But like, you gotta do your research on it. What they think or what do you think is the best means of action? I think research and education is huge. All right, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I mean, I was done. You're good. But yeah, I think, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
So my thing, my outgoing take, opinion, comment, concern is it's tough to put it because I always try to emphasize having fun in this hobby, and I know I've had this as my outgoing take before, but like people need to have fun in this hobby, whatever they're doing, what buying, selling, trading, flipping, investing, trading, whatever you're doing, you have to have fun, and or opening. Like, I mean, I ask people all the time, did you have fun opening that box? And majority of people say, yeah, they had fun. And that's the point of this hobby. Because at the end of the day, no matter what the percentage is, or wherever the decimal point is, the business plan is, it's a hobby at the end of the day. And hobbies are meant to have fun. And if you can do that over anything, then you're going to have a great time and a great experience in this hobby. But you're right. People do get lost in the hype. People do get caught up in, what boxes have the best, have the most autos out of them. Well, right now, the most autos out of a box, at least here at the shop, is 2023 draft picks Prizm football. But a
Hmm.
lot of people around here don't like the draft picks. Why? Because there's no college football teams up here. But if I could give you an Anthony Richardson auto out of that product, why wouldn't you buy it? Compared to the NFL counterpart of Prizm being $1,000 box. Again, you make the decision on which price tag you want to spend. So like if you can just kind of, I don't want to say tune out the variables because you just can't at the end of the day. But like if I see a hobby box with 4 autos for 100 and what however much it goes for, why wouldn't I consider it? Just because it's collegiate? So what? There's people across the country that love collegiate. So like if you pull it, grade it, sell it, put it on eBay, whatever. But like just kind of tune out those little nuanced variables. Who cares if it's collegiate? Who cares if it's, not an auto, but it's a numbered superstar card? Like try to have fun and enjoy your time in the hobby. And I think if people can do that first and foremost, then I think everything else will fall into place much more easily than if you just try to focus on ROIs and flipping cards and all that create, nuanced stuff. So that's kind of where
Hmm.
I'm going to put a pin in my outgoing take there. So yeah, Ricky, let's see. We will be talking next for episode 10 on the 25th. That would be championship weekend, right? Let's see. Wild card, divisional. Yeah. Who do you have in the NFC title game right now? I got to look at the thing
Who do
real
I have
quick.
in the NFC title game?
Yes.
Uh,
I got to look at it.
I mean, the 49ers are kind of my favorite right now.
Yep.
And then maybe the Eagles.
Okay. That's
They're
that.
kind of
Okay.
slumping right now. They're kind of slumping hard right now, though. Oh wait, no,
So
they
think
they would face each other next round.
it's all about seeding. So I believe the Eagles are, it doesn't have the seeding on here, but it's all about seed. I think Eagles are 2. No, I think they're 3.
They're
So
4. No, they're
they're,
5 actually.
they're 5. Oh, that's right. oh, okay. So yeah, they could. Well, I mean, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go Eagles and I'm not Eagles. Sorry. I'm going to go Niners and Lions. I know seeding is going to kind of maybe mix that up, but that's just kind of blindly what I'm going to say. And for the
Hmm.
AFC, I'll give you my opinion first. Think about yours. I'm going to go with, oh, I don't know. The AFC is a shit show. Shoot. People are going to hate me for this one. Dolphins, Browns. Dolphins and Browns.
Dolphins and Browns.
Again, I'm not even looking at seeding. That could possibly not even happen. But I'm gonna say Dolphins and Browns.
A
I don't.
little 5 and 6.
Yeah, that could work. Cause
Oh,
Ravens.
I'm looking. I'm looking at the bracket now. It's definitely possible they can verse each other in the AFC
That's what I like to
Championship.
hear. That's what I like to hear.
I think Buffalo's gonna lose. I don't know if it's the first round because they're versus Pittsburgh, but
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
but
see
it
the
is.
I don't see Buffalo going to the AFC Championship. Um, it very well could be Miami, Cleveland.
I don't know. I think that would be a little juicy. Joe Flacco back from the couch, and then you got the Dolphins trying to prove people wrong. Tua trying to prove people wrong. I mean, huge test in the first round against Kansas City, but if they can win that game, I think whoever they play in the divisional, I don't think we'll be able to top that in terms of conditions, team going
Yeah.
against, quarterback play, obviously. So that we'll wrap it up for today's episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for Hobby Talk episode number 9. Again, we apologize for the postponement of this episode from a couple weeks ago. Again, scheduling just did not work out. Hopefully, Ricky will have his camera all situated for next time, but it was really cool to look at your logo, especially with the sound waves bouncing off of it for the
Yeah,
last
right.
hour. But that will do it. Hopefully, you guys have a fantastic couple of weeks. If you're going to any shows between now and next episode, have fun, be safe, and whoever you buy, whoever you sell, whoever you trade, make sure you have fun doing it. Ricky, have a
All right.
great one.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Peace out.